Hello everyone and welcome to a segment of the POAP Report. I am your host Mister Mojo and I'm excited to talk about the POAP ecosystem with you today. You may notice that things are looking a little different for me. Normally I have a whole bunch of lighting set up and a table put out and I like to try to be as super professional as possible. But I decided to reel it back a little bit, make it a little bit easier on myself so I can get content out to you more consistently. Hopefully you enjoy the change. I know that it's taking a load off of my mind, but less about me, more about the POAP community. So I want to dive into this topic. So about a month ago, on the POAP Discourse, there was a contest that was being held asking people to submit POAPs that they believe mark historical moments. And so the top 3 winners would receive $50 worth of either Ether or Matic, whatever they chose. And we were originally only going to have 3 winners, but because of such great submissions, we decided to have 5 total winners. So we still had the 3 winners of $50 and we had 2 winners of $25. And I would like to talk about all 5 of them with you. And I'm going to start off with number 5. So coming in 5th place, let me scroll up for y'all. Sorry about that. Kind of spoiled it a little bit there. We have Winnethew. So he had wrote his article in a Google Doc, and he also used some POAP art assets to spruce it up a little bit, which I think is pretty cool. It gives a nice visual touch. So he begins by talking about one of the many Ukraine support POAPs, and the one that he chose is the one that was given directly by Ukraine's government. So back whenever the unfortunate land war, between Ukraine and Russia began, there were a bunch of initiatives that started up to help with humanitarian aid for the people in the area. And this one comes from the actual Ukraine government. So they have wallets that you were able to donate some cryptocurrency to, and that would be put towards their defense efforts. And if you donated, then you got this POAP. So really cool to see that a government in a time of war using POAPs to help fund themselves. Kind of interesting. So next was the Ethereum.org MVP. So this one, as he explains, it was given to those who gave some meaningful contributions to Ethereum.org. You were able to be marked as an MVP and given this POAP. And then finally is a brand POAP. So this one is for Miller Lite beer. And this came out of Decentraland, which is usually where you see these things happen. And so this one, again, it's Miller Lite. They had set up a virtual metaverse experience for you to go to and hang out. And you were able to get a POAP for going to their space. So really cool to see. A lot of these brands just love using the Decentraland to get their name out there and get people involved with their products. So using POAPs has been working out really well for them so far. And again, congratulations to Winnethew on your $25 prize. So next up, we have another one. Oh, also scroll down on that one a little bit. We have Ethan Samuel, also using a Google Doc to talk about the POAPs he finds historical. And he has a little bit of a twist on it as well. Instead of mostly looking at, oh yeah, these are historical POAPs, has a little bit of a theme of which ones have aged the best. And so he starts off with DevCon number 1, which technically it's the 3rd event in the POAP protocol. And so I'm going to go ahead and pull up the event on this one. I like how in the article he gave insights into what the event meant for not only POAP, but for the Ethereum ecosystem as a whole. Really cool to see what he had to say about those. And then next up, he has the NFT NYC attendee POAP. So for this one, he describes how this was a major event establishing moment. Talks about how NFT projects like Bored Apes and VFriends came out of this event. And he also explains how this event helped establish community in the NFT space in his write-up as well. So Really cool insights for that. And then finally, he mentions meeting Patricio in December 2021. So these kinds of You Met Me POAPs were a newer concept at the time. And of course, he gives the nod to Patricio because he's one of the founders and has significance in this community. So congratulations to our second $25 prize winner, Ethan Samuel, on your win in the contest. But okay, so in third place, in our first $50 winner, we have Omas. And I really liked his submission because it really helped me learn about some of these POAPs that I really didn't even know existed. So Omas seems to be a big Decentraland user, and his choices really reflect that. So he begins with the X-Copy Rect POAP, which has a lot of significance because this POAP had users manipulating the mint system in order to mint more than they should have been able to. There's even a tweet being shown here talking about it. Our minting system was hacked yesterday. Several POAPs of X-Copy art and Polygonal Mind were fraudulently issued and sold. Pretty crazy event, something that you don't see nowadays. POAP Inc. able to step in and make sure that this was fixed. But he talks about how those who had bought these counterfeit POAPs, they had them removed from their wallet, and they ended up getting replaced with a wrecked version of the original. So I think, honestly, that's kind of a more valuable thing, right? Considering all the circumstances. But all right, next on the list, one that I had talked about on my list, the Beacon Chain Genesis Depositor POAP. So people who had got this POAP, they deposited 32 ETH into the Beacon Chain Genesis smart contract before the Beacon Chain's official launch. And so definitely an OG staker POAP, one to have a lot of pride in if you happen to have it in your collection. And then finally, he has a Coca-Cola POAP from Decentraland that I didn't know existed. So again, a lot of these big brands love using Decentraland to make these virtual spaces, and they end up giving a POAP for going to them and hanging out. And I didn't even know that Coca-Cola had gave out a POAP for hanging out in the Decentraland space. And this was during the International Friends Day. And this POAP proves that you were there, so I kind of want to click on these really quick. It's just really neat to see a huge brand like Coca-Cola step in, and they want to use this NFT technology. They want to use this metaverse technology. Ooh, that's really loud. Sorry about that, everyone. But yeah, it seemed like a really cool event to be at, hanging out with your friends on International Friends Day. But all right, here is what the pub looked like. Happened on July 30th, 2021, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But again, congratulations to Omas being our third place winner and first $50 winner of the contest. All right, so in second place, we had Mary Am. Also scroll to the bottom of that one. Man, you can tell I was looking over these real quick. All right, so their article was written on Mir, and they had highlighted some very different POAPs from many, and I think this is kind of what gave them the edge with a lot of the other people who were judging the contest. So first off, they start with the James Webb Space Telescope. Make sure that y'all can see that. Great. All right, so they start off with the James Space Webb Telescope launch. And at this point, many of us have probably seen the absolutely beautiful images that have come from the telescope. But this POAP had marked when they first sent it out into space. A great moment in science and space exploration history, really. Cool to see a POAP market. Next, hey, one that was really important to me, socially anyway. Now, this one was meant for the people who had took the first steps to protecting themselves and others from the COVID-19 virus, going out, getting your first vaccine. Unsure how you were able to acquire this one, and I'm sure that there were probably some others in there. But hey, people wanting to come out and sort of reward people, give them acknowledgement that they were taking those steps to make sure that they were safe, that people around them were safe from something that had just took over the world for, heck, the last 2 years now. Really great to see some accommodation for that. And of course, guys, hey, remember, the more people who vaccinate, the safer we are as a whole in society. The science proves it. Gotta go do it, man. I got all 3 of my boosters, so hey, if we need the 4th, I'm gonna get it. But putting my politics aside, I want to talk about the last one. Also, kind of about politics. We have the Constitution DAO contributor POAP. So, around a year ago, there was an auction for an original copy of the U.S. Constitution at a Sotheby's auction. I never really remember how to pronounce that. But yes, there was a Constitution DAO that was set up in order to try and win the auction. Now, of course, one thing that happens with that is you can see how much money is in their bidding pool. So all it took was for someone really, really wealthy to step in and say, okay, they had, I think it was like $45 million or something. So all it took was for someone to say, hey, I got more than that. I want to stick it to these crypto people. So, we're going to run up the bid. And then once it got past the point of their funding, it was pretty much the nail in the coffin. So ultimately they failed, but this POAP went out to those who had contributed. Great way to mark their contribution to something that, again, ultimately failed, but was really cool to see an experiment. All right, so finally, we have our first place winner, who is named Faye. Faye Wien, congratulations on your first place win. $50 winner. Decided to take it in ETH, if I'm not mistaken. But had a really great article on Mirror as well, talking about POAPs that they think are historical. So the first event that they talk about is DAPCon. And he even provides a link to gain more information about the event, which is nice. I'm going to go ahead and click on that as well. So this is, I'm going to accept the cookies for that. So really, to me, what put Faye's article as the number one, or at least for a lot of the judges as well, is that he had provided links to really important information about the event, allows you to look and actually get a little bit of a glimpse of what had happened, which I think is really important for something like this, because when you want to use a POAP to mark an historical event, it's one thing to have the POAP to tell you, like, this thing happened. It's another thing to be able to actually research and look up what happened and be able to provide that. And so I think really that's what was able to send it over the edge, being able to provide these extra links that help talk about the event. But all right, so next on their list was ETH Denver 2019. This one popped up on a lot of lists, but an interesting thing that they had spoken about, they had provided a link to the submission for the hackathon, which I think is really cool. I'd never seen this until now, but this is their submission. And ultimately, POAP did not win, and Patricio has expressed a bunch of disdain for that. How, oh yeah, you want to talk about the hackathon that we didn't win? And stuff like that. But hey, a really great moment for POAP, really helped launch it. It really was the launching pad for this project that we all love and enjoy today. And then finally, a very recent event. It was the ETH Latam Buenos Aires 2022 POAP. Hey, recent huge event. I have no doubt this is going to be a highly historical POAP one day, a highly historical moment one day. There were over 4,000 attendees and 80 speakers. Patricio had a great speech. Vitalik Buterin went in there and he had his talk in Spanish. This guy is crazy, what he was able to do. But this was the start of what I expect to be a yearly event that many people are going to want to go to and participate in. And so, there were over 500 POAPs dropped at this event. So, of course, definitely something important to mark in this protocol. And then at the very end, they even give a few honorable mentions So they want to talk about the 1 millionth POAP. So this is just talking about, not 1 million events, but 1 million individual POAPs were able to be minted by this time. Happened back in September of 2021. So pretty interesting on that. Or at least this event is marked for then. I don't actually particularly remember when it happened. I guess that's when it happened. They even marked POAP Community Call number 1, which, not my POAP community call that I helped organize, but one that they had held originally. Cool to see that even this one gets recognition. A lot of people do get this POAP confused with at the time, what was called the POAP Curation Call. So, now the POAP Curation Call is just a POAP community call, and that's the nomenclature for it, but this was the OG POAP community call with official POAP members. And then finally, they have the Ethereum London Network upgrade, which I had talked about on my list. Basically, like I had said, one of the first events that I was really a part of when I first entered the space. It implemented the EIP 1559 upgrade, which changed how fees worked in terms of who gets the fees on the Ethereum blockchain, making it more proof of stake ready. Which, hey, today's August the 29th. Ethereum merge is really close, but I'll save that conversation for another time. I want to say again, congratulations to the winners of the Historical POAPs contest. What do you think of the winners? What do you think of the POAPs that they were able to show us? Let me know down below in the comment section, and be sure to tweet me at Mister Mojo RS or the POAP Report on Twitter.